A dark dorm room, only a desk lamp burns. Notes scattered across the desk. A cup of coffee, gone cold. You studied all night. You read, repeated, rewrote, desperate to make it stick. But by morning, it was gone. Not because you didn't care, not because you weren't smart, but because your brain quietly hit delete. We call it forgetting. Science calls it something far more terrifying. The curve that eats your knowledge alive. How fast do you lose what you learn? And is there any way to stop it? You read a book and forget 90%. You take a course, and by next week, it's gone. You learn, you forget, you start again. It's not laziness, it's biology. Your brain is designed to forget, fast. Within an hour, half of what you learned fades. Within a week, almost everything. But here's the part no one told you. You were never taught how to remember. You don't just lose facts. You lose confidence, that small spark that says, I'm getting somewhere. Every time you forget, you start to doubt yourself. Maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. But what if forgetting isn't failure? What if it's protection, your brain's way of saving you from overflow? Do you ever feel guilty for forgetting, even when your mind's just overwhelmed? What if your brain forgets not to punish you, but to protect you? Meet Evan Carter, 23 years old, a first-year medical student, driven, disciplined, and drained. He rewrites every note, highlights every word, stays up until 3 in the morning, convinced he just needs to try harder. But every exam week feels like starting from zero. He reads the same page twice, and it's like he's never seen it before. Knowledge slips through his fingers like water. He blames himself. He thinks he's broken, but his brain isn't broken. It's ancient, still following a rule written over a century ago by a man obsessed with memory. In 1885, Hermann Ebbinghaus spent years memorizing nonsense syllables. Zoff Kell, zap, over and over, just to see how long they'd stay in his mind. What he found changed neuroscience forever. A simple, painful graph that maps the way knowledge dies. So what exactly did he discover? And why does your brain still obey that same curve today? If your brain could save only 3 memories forever, which ones would you choose? This is the forgetting curve, a mirror of how your memory fades. Over time, after 20 minutes, you remember about 60%. After a day, 30. After a week, maybe 10. The line doesn't just drop, it falls like trust. Every second it sinks. Another piece of effort disappears. You think you're learning, but the curve is already erasing you. What if the real enemy isn't forgetting, but time itself? But here's the twist. Each time you revisit what you've learned, the curve rises again. Your brain doesn't just recall, it rebuilds. Stronger, faster, deeper. Repetition isn't boring, it's rescue. Like breathing before panic, like remembering the exit. When the fire starts, every return tells your brain, I'm still here, don't delete this yet. Your memory doesn't fail you, it just waits for you to prove you care enough to return. Maybe forgetting isn't a cliff. Maybe it's a rhythm, a fall and rise, the heartbeat of learning itself. When does information finally stick for you? During the study, or when you come back to it later? But if your brain can rebuild endlessly, why does so much still slip away? Your brain deletes on purpose. Right now, it's erasing something. A number, a name, maybe even this very sentence. It's not broken. It's pruning you so you can grow again. Every second, your mind trims connections, clears noise, makes room for what matters. But in the age of infinite information, that pruning has turned into panic. You scroll, you swipe, you switch. 1,000 tabs open in your head until your brain screams. Too loud, then silence. One heartbeat, that's your brain, begging for rhythm, for space, for breath. Scientists call it interference, new memories pushing out the old. That's why binge learning fails. The brain doesn't crave more data. It craves rhythm, space, silence. Learning isn't about remembering once. It's about returning until remembering feels Like breathing, every time you return, you tell your brain, this matters, and slowly, it stops deleting. Do you ever feel your brain is full, even before you start learning? What helps you reset? So how do you turn this fragile curve into a ladder, one that lifts you higher every time you forget? The secret weapon isn't harder work. It's smarter rhythm. Every memory has an expiration date. Unless you renew it, you don't need more hours. You need better timing, spaced repetition, the brain's natural heartbeat for memory. You revisit what you learn at the exact moment you're about to forget it. Too soon, and it's easy. Too late, and it's gone. But hit that sweet spot, and your memory locks it in, for good. Each time you return just before forgetting, you strengthen the signal. You build mental armor. Memory isn't what you know. It's what you choose to come back for. Evan didn't stop studying. He just stopped chasing. He started studying less and remembering more. For the first time in years, he slept. Not because he gave up, but because he remembered something better than information. He remembered how to feel calm again. When was the last time you learned something? Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. That's the beauty of rhythm. When you return with intention, your brain listens. The more Evan practiced spacing, the lighter it felt. The less he forced, the more he remembered. The brain isn't a machine. It's a rhythm that needs breath. But the real victory isn't just remembering facts. It's remembering yourself. What happens when you remember everything, except why you started? Evan learned to beat the curve. Every term, every formula, perfect recall. But one morning he looked at his reflection and realized he couldn't remember what any of it was for. He could recall every detail, except the part of himself that once cared. Maybe you felt it too. When your memory is full, but your mind feels empty. You remember everything, except why you started. That's not burnout. That's your brain whispering. You're learning the wrong things. He finally understood. Some things are meant to fade. Not every memory is worth keeping. Some need to vanish, so clarity can return. He had spent so long trying to hold everything that he forgot the beauty of letting go. He steps into the rain, feels the drops, exhales. Calm replaces panic. What's something you're still holding on to that your mind might be ready to let go of? For the first time in months, he let silence stay, and in that silence, his mind began to breathe again. So how do you know what's worth remembering and what to release? The rain stops. The sky slowly clears. Light begins to fill the room. Evan sits by the window, quiet, still. For the first time, he isn't forcing himself to remember. He's learning to forget, and it feels like peace. The brain doesn't crave knowledge. It craves meaning. You can feed it data forever, but unless it connects to emotion, it won't stay. When curiosity meets purpose, the forgetting curve breaks. We don't remember information. We remember connection. You don't remember every lecture. You remember the one that made you feel alive. You don't remember every quote. You remember the one that felt like it was written for you. The mind forgets what's irrelevant, so it can hold on to what makes you human. You can fill your mind with every fact in the world and still feel empty. That one blurry photo means more than 10 perfect notes because it made you feel. When was the last time you remembered something? Not because it was useful, but because it moved you. Maybe your brain's been trying to tell you too. You were never built to remember everything, only the things that guide you back to who you are. Evan opens his notebook, writes one line. Why I learn, to heal, not to prove. He smiles. For the first time, it feels enough. If forgetting filters the noise, maybe remembering is how we create meaning. Silence, a breath, the sound of a pencil closing a notebook. The morning light spills across the city. The streets are quiet. Evan walks, backpack light, mind lighter. The forgetting curve isn't a curse. It's a mirror. It doesn't show what you've lost. It shows what you've chosen to return for. Because the fastest thing you lose isn't what you learn, It's the version of you that stops showing up. So when you forget again, don't panic. That's not failure. That's your brain asking for meaning. Forgetfulness isn't weakness. It's direction. It's the mind saying, this one didn't matter enough. Find what does. He stops on a bridge. Golden light touches his face. He closes his eyes and exhales. He takes a small note from his pocket, unfolds it slowly. The words read, I release what I no longer need. He lets it go. The paper drifts, carried by the wind. The sunlight shimmers across the river, and in that small moment, he feels it. The peace of remembering what matters. Maybe remembering isn't about clinging. Maybe it's about choosing what deserves to stay. The Forgetting Curve, a film about remembering with purpose. If this story made you think, share it, leave a comment, tell me, what's the one thing you want to remember for the rest of your life? And when your mind feels full again, come back, breathe, remember who you are, soft. Because in the end, the opposite of distraction isn't focus, it's clarity. The screen fades to white, a faint ocean sound, a heartbeat, silence.